What if the chains of slavery that bound millions of Africans to America's shores were not just a tragic chapter in history, but the fulfillment of an ancient prophecy foretold in sacred texts? What if Black America carries the bloodline of a lost people scattered across the world long ago? In this exploration, you'll follow a trail of clues from dusty biblical scrolls to the holds of slave ships, piecing together a puzzle that has sparked debate for over a century. The story begins in the sweltering fields of the American South, where enslaved people toiled under the sun, their songs rising like smoke from the earth. These melodies carried echoes of sorrow and hope, drawing from tales of a distant land where a nation once fled bondage. For generations, Black folk saw their own struggles mirrored in the Exodus, the flight of the Hebrews from Egypt. But in the late 1800s, something shifted. Men like Frank Cherry and William Crowdy stepped forward with revelations that turned metaphor into blood truth. Cherry, a laborer in Chattanooga, Tennessee, spoke of a vision where God named his people as the true descendants of Israel. He gathered followers into the Church of the Living God, teaching that the ancient tribes had dark skin, that their scattering matched the paths of African captives. Crowdy in Kansas claimed a similar divine message, founding the Church of God and Saints of Christ. His group spread eastward, blending old laws with new fire, insisting that Black Americans were the heirs to Jacob's 12 sons. As these ideas took root, more voices joined the chorus. In Harlem's bustling streets during the 1920s, Wentworth Arthur Matthew built the Commandment Keepers, a congregation that observed Sabbath on Saturdays and feasts from the old calendar. They pointed to maps showing how the tribes of Israel, after a serious conquest in 722 BCE, vanished into the winds of history. Could those lost ones have migrated south, blending with African kingdoms? Whispers grew of a kingdom of Judah in West Africa, where customs like circumcision and dietary rules hinted at hidden ties. Then came the Transatlantic horror. Millions ripped from homelands like Senegambia and Angola, sold into a new Egypt across the sea. Deuteronomy 28 spoke of curses for disobedience, yokes of iron, ships carrying away a people to serve enemies in unknown lands. For believers, the pieces fit too neatly. The Middle Passage, with its crammed holds and broken families, seemed scripted from those verses. And why did slave spirituals ring with themes of Jordan's River and promised lands? The narrative built layer by layer, suggesting that the curse of dispersion had fallen on the true Israelites, now awakening in America. Yet, as the 20th century unfolded, bolder claims emerged from the shadows. Groups like the African Hebrew Israelites of Jerusalem, led by Ben-Ami Ben Israel, left Chicago in the 1960s for Israel itself, settling in Dimona. They lived by strict codes, vegan meals, natural cloths, multiple wives, declaring themselves from the tribe of Judah, exiled in 70 CE by Romans. Back in the States, street preachers in cities like New York and Philadelphia formed camps, assigning tribes to Black, Latino, and Native peoples. They cited ancient texts describing Israelites with skin like burnished brass, hair like wool. Socrates and Shakespeare, they argued, bore African features in forgotten histories. But tension brewed. Some factions turned sharp, labeling European Jews as imposters, Jew-ish pretenders from Revelation's synagogue of Satan. Violence flared in rare cases, like the 2019 Jersey City tragedy tied to fringe elements. The movement splintered. Peaceful churches coexisted with militant voices, all clinging to the core. Black America as Israel's remnant. Now the trail twists toward hidden truths buried in blood and bone. Genetic threads weave a different tale. Studies of DNA from ancient remains and modern people show Black Americans drawing mainly from West and Central Africa, the Wolof, Mandinka, Congo peoples, whose ancestors faced the slavers' nets. European strands mix in, scars of rape and coercion during bondage. But Levantine markers, the ancient Near Eastern folk, they appear faint or absent. Ashkenazi Jews traced through Y chromosomes link back to the Fertile Crescent 1500 to 2500 years ago, with minor African traces from old diasporas. Ethiopian falashas, once hailed as proof, show no direct biblical Israelite ties in tests. The Lemba of southern Africa carry some Semitic teens, but they're a tiny group, not the source for millions across the Atlantic. Historical records add weight. The slave trade pulled from diverse tribes, not a single Hebrew lineage. Josephus wrote of Jewish captives in Rome, not mass flights to sub-Saharan realms. Archaeology paints Israelites as Canaanite kin, sharing DNA with today's Arabs and Jews, not a broad African descent. Still, the story doesn't end in denial. This belief rose from pain, a shield against erasure. In a world that stripped names and roots, claiming Israel offered dignity, a royal heritage beyond plantations. Figures like Marcus Garvey inspired it, his black nationalism fueling pride. Today, perhaps 4% of African Americans identify with Hebrew Israelite ideas, a thread in the fabric of identity. Science may refute the biology, but the spirit endures, a testament to resilience. As the descendants of survivors, Black Americans forge paths that honor all ancestors, from African shores to whatever mysteries the past holds. And so the question lingers, descent from Israel or not, does it change the strength found in the journey? The answer lies in the lives built from those chains, now broken, pointing towards futures unbound.